Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. Breaking down the Miami Dolphins' continuing dilemma with Tua Tagovailoa is not just another week-to-week NFL story. It's a saga that has been brewing for years, a combination of promise, fragility, contract commitments, and now the sobering reality of results that simply don't match the investment. Let's get this straight from the start. Tua is not the sole reason Miami has stumbled out of the gates in the 2025 season, but he is absolutely central to the conversation. Because when you commit to a quarterback as your franchise centerpiece, everything else revolves around him. And right now, the orbit is wobbling, maybe even collapsing, because the Dolphins' bet on Tagovailoa is not paying off the way they hoped. When Tua came into the league, there was already a sense of fragility about him. Everyone knew the history. The devastating hip injury at Alabama, the questions about durability, the whispers about whether his body was built for the grind of a long NFL career. But there was also hope, fueled by his accuracy, his quick release, his ability to read defenses and hit his receivers in stride. That was the trade-off. The Dolphins weren't getting a Patrick Mahomes-type gunslinger, but they were banking on intelligence, timing, and precision. For a while, especially in 2022 and 2023, it seemed like that formula could work. He was efficient, he put up big numbers, and he even started to quiet the critics by stringing together healthy stretches. That was enough to convince Miami to double down, lock him into a long-term deal, and essentially hitch their franchise wagon to him. But here's the problem. Once you give a quarterback that kind of contract, once you commit not just financially but organizationally to his success, you can't just walk away when things get rocky. And rocky is exactly where the Dolphins are right now. This isn't just about a bad start to the season. It's about the realization that Tua may not be the kind of quarterback who can elevate a team when everything around him isn't perfect. That's a harsh truth, but it's becoming unavoidable. Let's take a look at the numbers. No, Tua hasn't been dreadful this year. This isn't a Zach Wilson situation where the offense is unwatchable every snap, but he hasn't been good enough either. And that's the cruel reality of the NFL. For quarterbacks, good enough doesn't cut it, especially in crunch time. Miami has now had back-to-back games where the moment demanded that their quarterback step up and deliver, and both times Tua came up short. That's not just a blip, that's a trend, and trends are what get coaches, GMs, and owners losing sleep. It becomes even more complicated when you look at the contract. Tua's deal ties Miami's hands in a big way. Unless the Dolphins are willing to do something drastic, like what Denver did with Russell Wilson, swallow a mountain of dead cap space and admit failure, they're basically committed to him through at least 2026. The guaranteed money is staggering, and the idea of another team taking on that contract, given his current trajectory, feels almost laughable. What team is going to sign up for a quarterback who has both health concerns and inconsistent performance, while also guaranteeing him north of $50 million in 2026. That's a tough sell. So the Dolphins are in this awkward position where the best option, the most realistic option, is for Tua to figure it out, to recapture the magic of 2022 and 2023, and to somehow prove that this shaky start is just a temporary slump. But can he? That's where the doubt creeps in. Even at his peak, Tagovailoa had limitations. He has never had the arm strength of a Josh Allen, never had the escapability of a Lamar Jackson, never had the improvisational wizardry of a Mahomes. What he had was timing, accuracy, anticipation, and right now, those qualities seem dulled. He looks jittery, nervous in the pocket, bailing out of plays too early, and misfiring on throws he used to hit in his sleep. Yes, the offensive line is part of the problem. Injuries have gutted the right side, and protection hasn't been stellar even when healthy. But this isn't the worst offensive line in football, not by a long shot, and plenty of quarterbacks thrive behind worse units. The issue isn't just protection, it's trust. Tua looks like a quarterback who doesn't trust his line and, more importantly, doesn't trust his own ability to withstand punishment. And that's understandable given his history, but it's also devastating for an offense. Quarterbacks in today's NFL have to be willing to take hits, to step into the pocket, to hold the ball for that extra half second if it means a big play. If you're playing scared, or even cautious to a fault, the whole playbook shrinks, the whole offense feels tight, and defenses feast on that. Tom Pelissero captured it perfectly when he pointed out how Mike McDaniel has to design game plans around Tua's limitations. Think about that for a second. The head coach has to actively avoid calling plays that might expose his quarterback to hits. No designed runs, no sneaks, no bootlegs, no zone reads. You can't even disguise tendencies with him, because certain plays are simply off the table. That puts enormous pressure on precision passing, on timing routes, on everything going exactly right. And in the NFL, things rarely go exactly right. When the margin for error is that thin, the whole thing is fragile. We saw that fragility exposed against Buffalo. The late interception has been replayed endlessly, dissected from every angle. Was it a bad decision? Was it a bad route? Was it the play design? The truth is, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the ball needed to be there instantly when Waddle turned, and it wasn't. That delay, that slight hesitation, is the difference between a first down and a game-sealing turnover. That's the razor's edge Miami is living on right now, and it's why their season already feels like it's slipping away before October even hits. And that brings us to the bigger picture. The Dolphins have been all in on Tua for years now. The hiring of McDaniel was partly about maximizing Tua's potential, surrounding him with an offense that played to his strengths. The drafting of receivers, the investment in speed, the entire offensive philosophy, it was all designed with him at the center. And for a while, it looked like it might pay off. The 2023 season was the high point, the year he stayed healthy, put up numbers, even made the Pro Bowl as a starter. That season convinced Miami to commit long-term. But if that was the peak, if that was the ceiling, then the Dolphins are in trouble, because a ceiling of Pro Bowl starter in a good year, liability in a bad year, is not worth franchise quarterback money. So here we are. Miami is 0-3, and history tells us that playoff dreams are basically gone. Only a tiny handful of teams since 2000 have recovered from that kind of start to reach the postseason. That means 2025 is already shifting from contending year to evaluation year. The Dolphins have to decide not just how to get through this season, but how to approach the next 2 years with Tua. Do they cling to hope, trust that he can turn it around, and build around him yet again? Or do they start planning for life after Tua, even if the contract makes that move painful? It's a brutal spot to be in, because the Dolphins aren't a rebuilding team. They're supposed to be in their window right now, with Tyreek Hill still blazing, Jalen Waddle in his prime, and a defense that's been patched and improved over time. This was supposed to be the year they made the leap, the year they proved they were more than a regular season story. Instead, it feels like déjà vu, the same frustrations, the same limitations, the same questions about whether the quarterback at the center of it all is really the guy. And that's the heart of the dilemma. Tua isn't bad. He isn't a bust. He's not a quarterback you can just cast aside without serious consequences. But he also isn't great. And in today's NFL, if you don't have great at quarterback, you're stuck. Stuck in the middle, stuck in the no man's land of being too good to start over and too flawed to truly contend. That's where Miami lives right now, and unless something changes dramatically, and soon, they could be living there for a long time. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? The NFL world has been shaken in ways nobody expected, and the talk of the town right now is nothing less than explosive. We are talking about the league stepping in and making the unprecedented decision to cancel both the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets for alleged grave irregularities. Yes, you heard that right. 2 entire franchises pulled into the center of controversy, with the official statement coming straight from the league itself. It's not every day we see something like this unfold, and the entire football community, from diehard fans to former players, from analysts to casual viewers, is buzzing with disbelief, speculation, and heated debate about what this means for the future of the sport. According to the confirmation released, the Dolphins and the Jets have been accused of engaging in practices that cross the line of what the league deems acceptable. While the official wording was intentionally vague, using terms like serious violations and integrity concerns, insiders suggest the problem runs far deeper than a simple misstep. Some are whispering about salary cap manipulation, others are throwing around suspicions of tampering, and a few even point to potential game day infractions that could have tipped the scales unfairly. The absence of clear details has only added fuel to the fire, creating a perfect storm of rumors that is spreading like wildfire across social media platforms and sports talk shows. For Dolphins fans, this is a gut punch at a time when there was genuine optimism about the direction of the team. Miami had been building momentum, showcasing a roster with legitimate talent, and there was growing excitement around their ability to compete at the highest level in the AFC. Suddenly, all of that hope has been thrown into chaos. Imagine investing your emotional energy into a season filled with promise, only to have it all ripped away by a league ruling that feels as stunning as it is ambiguous. The frustration among fans is palpable, and many are demanding clarity, answers, and a timeline for when or if the Dolphins can return to normal competition. On the Jets' side, the sense of injustice is just as sharp, though tinged with a different flavor. The Jets have long been positioned as a team constantly trying to rebuild, constantly searching for stability and success that always seems to be just out of reach. To have the league swoop in and shut them down at this particular moment feels, to many supporters, like the cruelest twist of fate. Some argue that the team was finally piecing together a foundation that could have led to a brighter future. Now, that entire process has been derailed, leaving the fan base to wonder whether this organization is cursed or simply unlucky to be at the center of such a monumental scandal. The larger question looming over all of this is the precedent the NFL has now set. By canceling 2 entire franchises, even temporarily, the league has drawn a line in the sand that could change the way professional football is governed moving forward. Never before has the NFL taken action of this scale, and it sends a loud and clear message. No team, no matter its history or market size, is above the rules. But while some applaud the league for having the backbone to make such a bold decision, others are accusing it of being heavy-handed, inconsistent, or even politically motivated. Is this truly about integrity, or is there something else happening behind closed doors that we are not being told? One of the loudest criticisms revolves around transparency, or the lack thereof. The NFL has built its empire on the trust and loyalty of fans, and yet in this case, the explanations given have been minimal at best. Without concrete information, speculation fills the vacuum, and speculation is dangerous. Already, conspiracy theories are popping up that suggest rival owners pushed for these punishments, or that the league wanted to make an example out of 2 franchises that were easier to target compared to more powerful organizations. Whether or not any of that is true almost doesn't matter, because perception shapes reality, and right now the perception is that the NFL has acted in a way that raises more questions than it answers. Players, too, are caught in the middle of this storm. Imagine being a player who has poured countless hours into preparation, training, and sacrifice, only to be told that your season is effectively over because of decisions made far above your pay grade. There are reports that several Dolphins and Jets players are considering legal action, potentially suing for lost wages and damages to their careers. Agents are furious, coaches are left scrambling, and locker rooms are filled with anger and confusion. For younger players, this interruption could be devastating to their development. For veterans, it might mean the abrupt end of a career that had only a few seasons left. It's a human story as much as it is a business or a rules issue. And that human story is often forgotten when scandals of this magnitude erupt. What makes this entire saga even more fascinating is the ripple effect it creates across the league. With 2 teams suddenly pulled off the board, schedules are in disarray, television networks are scrambling to fill programming slots, and betting markets are in chaos. Fantasy football leagues are in uproar, season ticket holders are demanding refunds, and local businesses that depend on game day crowds are bracing for financial losses. The cancellation of just 1 team would have been disruptive enough, but removing 2 at once is unprecedented, creating logistical nightmares that will reverberate for months, if not years, to come. And let's not forget the rivalry between the Dolphins and the Jets themselves. This rivalry has been a staple of the AFC East for decades, a clash that has given fans countless unforgettable moments. To see both teams sidelined together feels almost symbolic, as though the NFL decided to erase an entire chapter of divisional history in one swift motion. For fans who live and breathe this rivalry, the absence will be deeply felt, and many worry that when, or if, their teams return, the rivalry may never be the same again. So where does this leave us? At the heart of it all is the undeniable fact that the NFL has entered uncharted waters. This decision is not just a punishment for two teams. It is a statement that reverberates throughout the entire ecosystem of professional football. Whether you see it as a bold stand for integrity or a reckless overreach of authority depends largely on your perspective. What cannot be denied is that the Dolphins and Jets are now symbols of a new era, one in which the league seems willing to flex its power in ways we've never seen before. The implications are massive, and the fallout will likely shape the future of the NFL for years to come. As the dust settles, the biggest question of all remains unanswered. What exactly did the Dolphins and Jets do to deserve such a severe and historic penalty? Until the league provides concrete answers, the speculation will only continue to grow. Fans will continue to argue, pundits will continue to speculate, and the story will continue to dominate headlines. For now, all we can do is watch as one of the most shocking controversies in NFL history unfolds before our eyes, leaving us to wonder whether we are witnessing justice being served or a colossal overstep that will haunt the league forever. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.